This video is about she walked into the subway station and a rich stranger bought her coffee. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The rumble of the subway echoed through the dimly lit station as Emily stepped onto the cracked tiles, the faint scent of damp concrete and roasted coffee swirling around her. She pulled her scarf tighter around her neck, a futile attempt to ward off the biting chill that seeped in through her layers. It was early Monday morning, and like every other day, she felt the weight of the week looming ahead. With her hands buried deep in her pockets, she stifled a yawn, trying to shake off the remnants of sleep that clung to her. Her mind was a chaotic jumble of deadlines and responsibilities, but a fleeting thought passed through how nice it would be to have someone to share a cup of coffee with, even if just for a moment. Suddenly, a loud announcement led from the speakers, and Emily flinched, her heart racing from the sudden noise. She glanced round the nearly deserted station, her gaze landing on a tall figure standing just a few feet away. He was impeccably dressed in a tailored navy coat, his dark hair tousled just enough to suggest a relaxed confidence. As if feeling her gaze, he turned towards her. His striking green eyes met hers, and for a brief second, the bustling world around them faded into silence. Emily felt a flush creep up her cheeks. She quickly looked down, focusing on her scuffed black boots as she reminded herself that he was just another stranger, a fleeting moment, nothing more. That the stranger wasn't he done observing. He took a step closer, his polished shoes echoing softly against the tiles. "Hey, do you know if the next train is on time?" he asked, his voice rich and smooth, like fine whiskey. Emily looked up, surprised by his direct approach. I think so," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "It should be here in a few minutes." He smiled, a charming, disarming smile that sent an unexpected flutter through her. "That's good to know. I am still adjusting to the city. I just moved here from Chicago." "Oh, really?" she said, her curiosity piqued despite her initial hesitation. "What brings you to New York?" He hesitated for just a moment, his gaze lingering on her face. "Work, mostly, but I've always wanted to experience the energy of this city." He extended his hand. "I am Noah, by the way." "Emily," she replied, shaking his hand. His grip was firm but gentle, sending an unexpected warmth through her. "Nice to meet you." "Likewise," he said, his smile widening. "Do you come here often?" The question caught her off guard. Yeah, I guess. I work nearby." She shifted her weight, feeling a mix of interest and insecurity. "What about you? How is the city treating you so far?" "Honestly, it has been a whirlwind," he chuckled, the sound rich and inviting. "But I am starting to fall in love with the chaos." "So you like the unpredictability?" she asked, tilting her head as she studied him. "Absolutely. It is like being in a movie where anything can happen, and speaking of unpredictability..." He hesitated, then added, "Would you join me for a coffee while we wait for the train? I promise I won't tea bite." For a moment she was taken aback. Was he really asking her to join him? She glanced at her phone, the time ticking away, the prospect of the week flooding back. But the way he looked at her earnest, hopeful, made her consider it. "Sure," she heard herself say before she could talk herself out of it. "That sounds nice." Noah's eyes lit up, and he motioned toward a small cafe that nestled snugly at one end of the station. "Perfect. I am a sucker for a good cappuccino." As they walked toward the cafe, the air crackled with something electric. Emily could feel the warmth of his presence beside her, and a mix of excitement and apprehension bubbled within her. This was unusually spontaneous for her, but there was something undeniably magnetic about Noah. Inside the cafe, the smell of fresh coffee wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. The barista greeted Noah with a friendly smile, and he ordered their drinks with an ease that made Emily feel momentarily self-conscious. "What do you want?" he asked, glancing at her. "Just a vanilla latte, please." She bit her lip, feeling slightly embarrassed. "2 drinks coming right up," he said, turning back to the barista. As they waited for their orders, Emily couldn't help but steal glances at Noah. He was handsome in a way that felt striking and almost intimidating, yet his friendly demeanor put her at ease. "So, what do you do for work?" she asked, hoping to keep the conversation flowing. "I am in finance," he replied, a hint of pride creeping into his voice. "I help manage investments for various clients. That is challenging but rewarding." "Sounds intense," she said, nodding. "I work in marketing, not quite as exciting as finance, but it has its moment." "Marketing is creative, though," he countered, leaning in as if genuinely interested. "You get to shape how people perceive a product. That is powerful." "I guess so," she said, smiling. but most days feel like I am just trying to keep up with deadlines. He studied her, and for a moment, the air felt thick with unspoken words. What do you do outside of work? Any hobbies? I like painting, she said, her heart racing at the thought of sharing something personal. That's a form of escape for me. Noah's expression softened. Really? I'd love to see your work someday. Emily's cheeks flushed, caught off guard by the sincerity in his voice. Maybe, she replied coyly, trying to play it cool. I am not sure that's good enough for anyone to see. Trust me, he said, his tone playful yet earnest. I am sure that's better than you think. Everyone has something to say through their art. Before she could respond, their drinks were ready. They took their cups and found a small table by the window. The murmur of conversations and the clinking of cups created a cozy atmosphere, but Emily's focus remained on Noah. So, what do you think of New York so far? She asked, taking a sip of her latte. It is chaotic, but that is what I love about it, he said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. The people, the energy, feels alive, but sometimes I miss the calm of Chicago. I can see that. Emily took a tentative sip, letting the warmth of the drink spread through her. But isn't it exciting to explore new places? Absolutely, he agreed, leaning back in his chair. But it can feel lonely sometimes if you don't know anyone. Her heart sank a little at the hint of vulnerability in his words. I can relate, she said softly. Moving here was a big change for me too. I felt lost at first. Did you find your way eventually? Noah asked, his gaze piercing through the layers she instinctively kept around herself. Sort of, she replied, feeling a mix of comfort and discomfort. I am still figuring it out, to be honest. Me too, he admitted, his openness disarming. But maybe we can help each other navigate this chaos. Emily felt a spark at the suggestion, a flicker of something deep and uncharted. I could get on board with that, she said, a smile creeping onto her lips. The conversation flowed easily, like a river finding its course. They discussed favorite books, music, and the absurdity of the city's subway system. Emily found herself laughing, her earlier apprehensions fading with each exchanged word. But as their connection deepened, the weight of reality began to settle in. Emily couldn't ignore the nagging thought at the back of her mind this was just a chance encounter. He would be gone soon, swept back into the whirlwind of his new life, and she would be left with a bittersweet memory of a moment that felt too good to last. Just then, Nora's phone buzzed, interrupting the moment. He glanced at the screen, his expression shifting slightly. Sorry, I need to take this. Of course, she said, forcing a smile even as her heart sank. He stepped away, leaving her alone with her thoughts. As she watched him converse animatedly, she felt a twinge of jealousy at the ease with which he interacted with others. Would he treat her like this if they were more than strangers? Noah returned a few moments later, a hint of frustration in his eyes. Work, he said with a resigned sigh. Sometimes it feels like it never ends. Emily nodded, understanding the weight of obligations. I get that, she said gently. You have to balance your life and work, though. I know, he replied, running a hand through his hair. But it is hard not to get sucked in. As the train's arrival echoed through the station, the moment felt charged with unspoken possibilities. She could sense the fleeting nature of their connection, yet something deep within urged her to hold on just a little longer. Were you ready to catch your train? Noah asked his. Emily's heart raced at the thought of saying goodbye, yet she found herself hesitating. The train wasn't the only thing arriving. She felt a rush of possibilities flooding her heart, intrigued by the conversation they had shared. Not just yet, she replied, pausing to consider her next words carefully. I mean, we just got our drinks, and I'd love to hear more about your first impressions of New York. Maybe I can help you navigate through the chaos. Noah's eyes lit up with curiosity, a subtle smile curling on his lips. You'd really help me. I might just be a lost cause in this city, he teased, leaning in slightly, his playful tone making her heart flutter. I doubt that, she said, a soft laugh escaping her lips. But every lost cause needs a guide, right? What do you want to know? He took a sip of his cappuccino, gazing at her thoughtfully. How about the best places to eat? I've heard mixed reviews about the food scene here. Well, it depends on what you're into, she began, relishing the chance to dive deeper into the conversation. For street food, you can go wrong with Hal guys, but if you're in the mood for something fancy, I'd recommend Le Bernardin. No raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. Wow, you know your stuff. I am definitely going to take your recommendations seriously. Maybe I'll throw in a few secrets about the best coffee spots as well, she added with a mischievous grin, reveling in the ease between them. Secrets, he repeated, leaning forward, his voice low and easing. Now you have my full attention. The air around them thickened with an unspoken tension, and Emily felt a warm rush creep up her cheeks. This was a dance they were both learning, stepping closer yet wary of the line that separated strangers from something more. At that moment, the subway train rumbled into the station, the sound resonating through the bustling atmosphere. Emily's heart sank, the reality of their brief encounter looming large. "Looks like your ride is here," she said, attempting to mask her disappointment. "I guess it's time to." "Not yet," he interrupted, his voice firmer than before. "Let us not end this now. I mean, we've barely scratched the surface. There is so much more to talk about." "Like what?" she challenged, a playful spark igniting between them, her heart racing at the unexpected thrill of their banter. "Like what you do on weekends. What do you love outside of work?" His eyes were locked onto hers with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "Mostly, I paint," she admitted, feeling the urge to share more. "I find inspiration in the city, its energy, the people. It's my escape." "Sounds like a beautiful way to cope with the madness," he said softly, his gaze unwavering. "Maybe one day I could see your paintings." "Maybe," she replied, her heart fluttering at the thought. "But you will have to promise to be honest. If they were terrible, you can hold back." "A deal," he said, grinning. "Though I doubt they'll be anything less than extraordinary." The drinks gradually cooled, the warmth between them more palpable than the coffee. As they chatted, she found herself leaning in closer, space between them diminishing. "But what about you?" she asked, wanting to turn the conversation back to him. "What do you do for fun besides finance?" "Honestly," he said, pausing for effect, "I haven't had much time to figure that out yet. Moving here has been a whirlwind." "Do you have any hobbies, anything you're passionate about besides work?" Noah hesitated for a moment, as if weighing his words. "I used to love hiking back home. There is something about being in nature that grounds me. I haven't explored much of the outdoors here yet." "New York has some great parks, and the surrounding areas are beautiful," she offered. "We could go hiking sometime if you want company." Her heart thudded as she realized the implication of her invitation. Would he take it as just a friendly gesture, or was there something more? "I do like that," he replied, his voice low, a flicker of excitement in his eyes. "It sounds adventurous, and I could use a localist insight." The atmosphere around them pulsed with anticipation, but just as the conversation was about to deepen, another buzz from Noah's phone interrupted the moment again. "I am really sorry," he said, glancing at the screen. "It is my boss. I should probably take this." "Of course," she said, forcing a smile, her heart sinking again. "Just do what you need to do." He stood, moving slightly away but still within her line of sight. As he answered the call, she felt a twinge of envy rise within her. He seemed so at ease in that moment, and she couldn't shake the feeling that he was slipping away from her grasp. "Yeah, I can handle that," he said into the phone, his tone professional yet slightly strained. "I'll get back to you in a bit." As he hung up, Noah returned to the table, a shadow of frustration passing over his features. "Sorry about that. Work just doesn't take a break, does it?" "No, it really doesn't," she said sympathetically, her mind racing at the thought of him being pulled back into the pressures of his life. It felt unfair. "And here I was thinking we were in our own little world. The world is calling me back. But I want to stay here with you," he said, his eyes sparkling with sincerity. "Can we at least exchange numbers? I'd really like to continue this conversation." Her heart raced again, a mix of excitement and fear coursing through her. "Sure," she replied, pulling out her phone. "I'd like that too." As she typed in her number, she felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this wasn't the end after all. "There," she said, handing the phone back to him. "Text me anytime." "I will, I promise," he said, a smile breaking across his face that made her stomach flutter. "And I'll hold you to the coffee and hike. You could show me the best views in the city." "I do love that," she said, her heart swelling at the thought. As the train began to pull away, the moment felt heavier, charged with promise and the uncertainty of what was to come. She watched Noah's expression shift, the complex mix of desire and resignation crossing his features. "I should go," he said reluctantly, stepping back. "But I am really glad we met." "Me too," she replied, the weight of emotion hanging in the air. "Take care of yourself, okay?" "I will, and remember, I am just a text away," he said, his gaze lingering on her as if wanting to engrave her image into his memory. With that, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Emily stood there, holding her latte, the warmth of their connection still coursing through her. The subway station buzzed around her, but she felt a sense of clarity amidst the chaos. As she took a sip of her drink, she realized something profound. Sometimes chance encounters could ignite something beautiful, a spark of possibility that could change everything. And as the doors of the subway station closed behind Noah, she knew this was just the beginning of this story. The following week passed in a blur of routine and responsibilities for Emily. Each day she found herself glancing at her phone with a mix of hope and anxiety. Had she misread the moment? Was not just a fleeting encounter in the vast cityscape of New York? But every time she thought about their meeting, the memory of his warm smile and captivating green eyes sent a thrill through her. She had promised herself she would be open to new experiences, yet the lingering uncertainty gnawed at her. What if he'd forgotten about her entirely? Days turned into a week, and just when she began to lose hope, her phone buzzed one chilly Tuesday morning. Heart racing, she picked it up to find a text from a number she recognized instantly. **no**** K, Emily. Hope you're doing well. I was thinking about that coffee and hike. How is this weekend looking? **. A rush of warmth flooded through her, a combination of excitement and disbelief. Had he really thought about her? For a moment, she simply stared at his message, absorbing the reality that their connection hadn't been merely one-sided. **Emily, Kai, Noah. I do love that. Saturday works for me. Do you have a place in mind? **. Her fingers trembled as she hit send, her heart skipping at the thought of their reunion. She hadn't realized how much she craved this interaction until the possibility of it became real again. A response came quickly. **No, great. Have you heard about this amazing trail upstate? It is supposed to have gorgeous views. What do you think? **. My mind raced with the idea of wandering through the vibrant hues of autumn leaves beside him. **Emily, that sounds perfect. I haven't had a good hiking day in ages. **. No, awesome. I'll pick you up at 8 a.m. then. Emily, looking forward to it. As the days rolled by, anticipation grew within Emily. She spent hours planning her outfit, wanting to strike the right balance between comfortable and charming. Every time she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror, she felt the familiar stirrings of insecurity typical for her. Would she look okay? Would he still be interested? Saturday dawned bright and crisp. Emily woke early, feeling an excited flutter in her stomach. After a quick shower, she dressed in a cozy flannel shirt and her favorite jeans, tying her hair back in a loose ponytail. A light jacket was a must. The autumn air was still brisk. By 7:30 a.m., she was pacing her apartment, counting down the minutes until she'd see Noah again. When the doorbell finally rang, a thrill shot through her. Gathering her breath, she opened the door to find Noah standing there, slightly breathless but grinning widely. "Hey, you look great," he said, his eyes sparkling as he took her in. "Thanks, you too," she replied, feeling the gravity of his gaze send a shiver down her spine. He was wearing a rugged jacket that complemented his tall frame, and the way he stood there, hands in his pockets, conveyed an easy confidence. "Ready for an adventure?" he asked, his voice playful, and for a moment, all her worries about the day melted away. "Absolutely," she said, excitement bubbling within her. Maybe their connection was more than just a passing moment. As they drove, the city melted away into landscapes dotted with trees, quaint houses, and fading storefronts. The conversation flowed easily between them, filled with laughter and shared stories. Emily felt a sense of ease, as if they were two old friends picking up where they left off rather than two people who had only met once. "I can't believe you've only been here a week," Emily said, glancing at him as he navigated through the growing foliage. He seemed to have a good grip on the city life already. "Thanks, I've been trying to absorb as much as I can," he replied, his focus on the road. "But I think meeting you has helped me feel more grounded in this chaos." She felt a rush at his words, a warmth blooming in her chest. "I am glad I could help." The closer they got to the hiking trail, the more the autumn color exploded around them, golden leaves swirling in the crisp air. Noah parked, and they stepped out, the vibrant landscape surrounding them. Emily inhaled deeply, savoring the fresh scent of pine and earth. "Wow, this place is beautiful," she exclaimed, spinning her around to take in the panoramic view. "Wait until you see the trail," Noah said, grinning at her enthusiasm. "Let us get going." As they walked, the conversation flowed effortlessly, a blend of playful banter and deeper discussions. Emily found herself laughing at Noah's stories about his attempts at cooking, and he didn't hold back about his culinary disasters. The more they talked, the more layers of each other they uncovered. "And you call yourself a finance guy?" she teased, nudging him playfully. "You need to work on your life skills." "Hey, I am great at numbers," he replied, feigning indignation. "Just Dante asked me to boil water." She laughed, feeling the delightful tension between them. It felt natural, effortless, but there was an undercurrent brewing beneath their playful exchanges, a magnetic pull that neither of them dared to acknowledge fully. As they climbed higher into the trail, the air grew cooler, and they found themselves surrounded by trees that towered above them, their leaves painting a breathtaking mosaic of color. Noah stopped to catch his breath, leaning against a tree, his expression thoughtful. "Thanks for coming out here with me," he said, looking at her with a sincerity that made her heart flutter. "I know the city can be overwhelming, and it is nice to escape it for a bit." Emily smiled softly, her gaze locked onto his. "I am glad we could do this. It is nice to connect with someone who gets it." The moment hung in the air, tension weaving between them. She felt the sudden urge to reach out, to close the distance, but the vulnerability of the thought made her hesitate. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, Noah broke the silence. "Hey, do you want to take a picture?" he asked, pulling out his phone. "We'll need proof of our adventure." "Sure," she said, grateful for the distraction. They posed in front of a stunning vista, Noah's arm encircling her shoulders, and she felt a rush of warmth as they stood close. She could feel his breath against her ear, and for a moment, the world around them faded. "Perfect," he said, stepping back to review the photo. "I'll send it to you later." "Can't wait to see it," she replied, her heart pounding as they resumed their hike. Each step felt heavier as they climbed, the weight of their connection pulling her in a direction she wasn't sure she was ready to explore. "Let us stop here," Noah said suddenly, gesturing to a large rock that jutted out over the landscape. "The view is incredible from this spot." They settled onto the rock, the sun shining down, casting a golden hue over everything. Emily took a moment to absorb the breathtaking view, but her mind kept drifting back to Noah. The way he looked at her, the way he made her feel, it was intoxicating. "This is amazing," she said, trying to break the silence. "I love moments like this." Noah turned to her, his expression softening. "Me too. It is easy to lose sight of the little things in the rush of life." Their eyes locked, and Emily felt the tension shift thickening in the air between them. She swallowed hard, her heart racing. What were they doing? Should she say something, or would that ruin the moment? "I am really glad we met that day at the station," Noah said quietly, breaking the spell. "You made my chaotic move feel a little less lonely." "I feel the same way," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "It is rare to feel such a connection with someone, especially in a city like this." He shifted closer, and her breath hitched. "Do you think it is silly to feel this way after only knowing each other for a week?" "Not at all," she said, her heart racing. "Sometimes things just click." "Exactly," he said, his green eyes searching hers. "I guess I am just afraid it is all too good to be true, that you'll wake up one day and realize you'd be better off without me in your life." The vulnerability in his admission sent a jolt through her. She reached out, gently placing her hand on his arm. "No, don't say that. I am here because I want to be. I enjoy spending time with you more than I expected." His gaze softened, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. "Really?" "Really," she replied, her heart pounding against her ribcage. "I like you, Noah. This connection feels special, and I want to see where it goes." He drew closer, his expression shifting from uncertainty to yearning. "I feel the same way, but I also don't want to pressure you. I don't want to ruin what we have." Her heart raced, and she marveled at the tension building between them. They were teetering on the edge of something profound. "We can take it slow," she suggested, her voice steady despite. Noah studied her for a moment, a mixture of relief and trepidation flickering across his face. "Taking it slow sounds good. I just want to make sure we're both on the same page." He paused, his voice softer. "I don't want to scare you away." Emily felt a rush of warmth at his sincerity. "You're not scaring me, I promise," she said, squeezing his arm gently. "It feels nice to be honest about what we want. Life is too short for anything less." Noah's expression shifted, a hint of a smile breaking through the seriousness of the moment. "You have a point. Honestly, I wasn't expecting you to be so open. It is refreshing." "Is it that surprising?" she teased, raising an eyebrow. "I am just a marketing girl trying to navigate a big city. I mean, I might as well be authentic about it." "No, I mean it," he said, his tone earnest. Most people, especially in my line of work, tend to keep their walls up. It's like everyone else playing a part, but with you, it feels different. Good different, she asked, her heart fluttering as she leaned in ever so slightly. Definitely, he replied, his gaze unwavering. You really like a breath of fresh air. It makes me wonder what else you've got hidden beneath the surface. She felt a blush creep up her cheeks. It just layers of chaos and paint splatters, she joked, feeling the edges of her nervousness dissolve as they laughed together. Noah's laughter blended with the sounds of nature around them, creating an atmosphere filled with warmth and ease. Yet, beneath the lightheartedness, an undercurrent of tension lingered. The way he looked at her, a mixture of admiration and longing, made her heart race. What about you? She asked, wanting to divert the conversation from herself. What's looking beneath that handsome exterior? He chuckled, running a hand through his hair. I am just a guy trying to find his way. I am still figuring out how to balance work and life, and moving here has added a layer of complexity. Complexity can be good, she said, her voice softening. It means you regrowing. True, he admitted, his eyes reflecting something deeper. But I sometimes feel like I am getting lost in the chaos of it all, like I am not enough, you know? The vulnerability in his words struck her, and she reached out, placing her hand on his knee. You are enough, Noah. You are navigating a huge life change, and that is commendable. It is okay to feel confused. He met her gaze, the intensity of the moment deepening. You really believe that? I do, she said, her voice steady. Everyone struggles at some point. What matters is how we rise to the challenge. Noah's expression softened, and he leaned closer, as if drawn by an invisible string. I appreciate that, I really do. It is nice to have someone who understands. The faces were just inches apart, and Emily could feel the warmth radiating from him. The tension in the air shifted, wrapping around them like a cocoon. She felt her heart beat faster as anticipation bubbled beneath her skin. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, Noah suddenly leaned back, breaking the moment. We should probably get moving, he said, his voice slightly unsteady. The view at the top is supposed to be breathtaking. Emily's heart sank a little at the abrupt change in dynamic, but nodded, trying to shake off the feeling. Yes, let us do that. They continued along the trail, but the conversation felt different now, heavier, laced with unspoken possibilities. The air around them shimmered with tension, and she couldn't help but glance at him out of the corner of her eye, wondering if he felt it too. As they reached a clearing, the trail opened up to a stunning vista that took her breath away. Wow, Emily breathed, stepping up to the edge. The view stretched out before them, rolling hills painted with autumnal hues, the sun casting a golden glow over everything. No step beside her, his eyes sparkling as he took in the scene. Incredible, right? He asked, his voice low and filled with awe. Absolutely, she replied, her heart racing. It is moments like this that remind me why I love this city. Me too, he said softly, glancing at her. It makes all the chaos worth it. As they stood there, side by side, something shifted in the atmosphere. It felt like the world was narrowing down to just the two of them and the breathtaking view. Emily turned to him, their eyes locking, the air thick with unspoken words. Do you want to take another picture? She suggested, trying to break the tension. Sure, he said, his voice slightly husky. He pulled out his phone again, and they posed together, this time standing closer, their bodies nearly touching. Emily couldn't resist leaning in, resting her head lightly against his shoulder, a move that felt both intimate and natural. Noah's breath hitched, and she could feel the tension between them pulse like electricity. Say cheese, he said, snapping the photo, and the moment hung suspended in time. But as he lowered his phone, the playful atmosphere shifted again, replaced with a charged silence. Emily, he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Can I ask you something? Of course, she replied, her heart racing at the gravity of his tone. Where do you see this going? He asked, his gaze locked onto hers, searching for something deeper. I mean, you said you want to take it slow, but I do, she interrupted gently, feeling the weight of the moment. But I don't want to ignore what is happening between us either. It feels real. His expression softened, relief washing over his features. I am glad you feel that way. I've been thinking about it a lot too. Really? She asked, surprised. I thought maybe I was just getting ahead of myself. No, it is not just you, he assured her, stepping closer again. I want to explore this connection, but I also don't want to rush it. I just moved here, and I don't want to complicate things. Complicated can be good, she said, a hint of mischief dancing in her tone. Sometimes the best things come from a little bit of chaos. Noah chuckled, his eyes sparkling with amusement. I like the way you think. The moment hung heavy between them, charged with anticipation. She could feel the pull between them, an invisible thread drawing them closer together. Can I? Noah began, hesitating for a moment before taking a deep breath. Can I kiss you? Her heart raced at the question as she felt a rush of exhilaration course through her veins. Yes, she breathed, her voice barely a whisper. Noah stepped in closer, his gaze never leaving hers. He cupped her face gently before leaning in, his lips brushing against hers softly at first, testing the waters. Emily melted into the kiss, her heart soaring as she felt the warmth of his body against hers. The kiss deepened, a mix of sweetness and longing, as the chaotic world around them faded into nothingness. In that moment, everything else ceased to exist. It was just them, their connection solidifying into something tangible and beautiful. As they pulled away, breathless, both of them lingered in the moment, their foreheads resting against each other. Wow, he murmured, a grin spreading across his face. That was amazing. Yeah, it really was, she replied, her heart still racing, a smile breaking free. I am glad we decided to take this chance, he said, his voice low and sincere. I feel like this is just the beginning. Me too, she said, feeling a renewed sense of hope and excitement. We'll figure this out together. As they stood there, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the promise of something new, Emily couldn't help but feel that fate had intervened. In the chaos of New York, she had found a connection that felt real, and she was determined to nurture it, one step at a time.